Hi everyone, welcome back to another literature lesson. Today we are going to look at The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas, chapters 19 and 20. We are going to finish up the book. So let's look at chapter 19 first, what happened the next day. This is the chapter where Bruno goes into the concentration camp and dies to the gas poisoning with Schmo. Here's the story outline. Please remember to copy it down in your literature notebook so that we can take a look at it together in class when we meet. Okay. Page 217. Bruno wanted to whisper to them that everything was alright, that father was the commandant, and if this was the kind of thing that he wanted the people to do, then it must be alright. So, as usual, remember to highlight this line and copy the annotation afterwards in your textbook. What does this line show? This line clearly shows us that Bruno has this faith in father, which I would call blind faith, because he totally doesn't know what father's job actually is, and he just knows that his father is called the commandant, and he has this faith in father that if he's the commandant, then nothing could go wrong, which is quite sad because his faith in father didn't reward him. In the end, he trusted father to run the camp properly, and he died with Schmo. Next, page 215. But Papa, he said, you said you'd help me find him. So here's another example of Schmo being manipulative, okay, here pressuring Bruno into helping him again. Page 212. Here the author says you wear the right outfit and you feel like the person you are pretending to be. So this is a very I'm looking for the right word here. It's a very harsh criticism of the Germans living at that time. Because the Germans in Germany, right, most of them are kind people. Most of them are people like you and me who would not raise a hand to hit someone just because they are of another race. So these German people, when they put on the Nazi uniform, they realize that, hey, this uniform gives me the power to do whatever I want, and they start to become these cruel people like Lieutenant Kotler, like father, okay, and they start to perform the Holocaust just as Hitler ordered. Okay, remember to take down the annotation. On a side note, I hope you all enjoy this little picture I found. It's a behind the scenes picture of the actors of Bruno and Schmo coming out into the sun, having a walk together, and this is sort of like an alternate universe, I guess, if you could call it, if the Holocaust didn't happen and Schmo and Bruno got to become friends, or if the Allies came to save the Jews earlier than the things that happened in this story, then Bruno and Schmo could have become friends in real life. And finally, for chapter 19, page 220, and then the room went very dark, and somehow, despite the chaos that followed, Bruno found that he was still holding Schmo's hand in his own, and nothing in the world would have persuaded him to let go. So I find that this is a very beautiful line that ends this chapter very well. We know that the world that Bruno and Schmo lives in is very cruel. The Nazis were trying to get rid of an entire race. The world is at war. It's a very horrible world. Yet, in this horrible world, there is this one final scene of beauty where Bruno and Schmo's friendship is looking for a good word here. Bruno and Schmo's friendship is shown to us in this moment where they held their hand. It's a very beautiful symbol in this very tragic world. Okay. And finally, let's get to the last chapter, chapter 20. This is the story outline. Remember to copy it down in your notebook. So this is a pretty short chapter where the author just shows us all the different family members' reactions to Bruno's death. Mother couldn't find Bruno, so she had this crazy idea that maybe he flew back to Berlin by himself. And then she went back to Berlin. Gretel keeps crying. And father did some detective work. He did some exploration of his own, and he found that Bruno probably died in a gas chamber, and he becomes very depressed and has to be sacked from his job because he couldn't do his job properly. There's only one slide here for annotations and highlighting on page 223. Of course, all this happened a long time ago and nothing like that could ever happen again, not in this day and age. So here, right, the author is not actually saying that this thing that happened to Bruno and Shmuel, the Holocaust, this thing will not happen again. He's not actually saying that, he's warning us. Because if you look at the world now, there's still a lot of racism going on, okay? Just go and read stuff on the internet and you will find that there's a lot of genocides that are happening around the world. I don't think I can mention them because we're on YouTube. So the author is giving us a very stern warning not to be like the Nazis, because if we do, then there will be more tragedies like Bruno and Shmuel. And finally, the exit card question. I'm going to post this in your Google Classroom assignment. So as usual, please submit an answer to this. Don't need to be very long, just a single sentence will do. What is the main lesson that you have learned from the boy in the striped pajamas? That's all I want to know. Okay? So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you all when school reopens. Bye bye.